How's it going, people, and welcome back to the project. Another little bit of a different one today. I'm going to do a sit-down video just speaking through why I've chosen to do a photo shoot. And this is probably something I should have done near at the beginning, but I think on the surface it can seem quite, I don't want to say shallow, but just a goal that a lot of people do within the fitness industry, just to improve their business or to just go through the challenge themselves. But I think for me this means a lot more than that. And hopefully within this video you will kind of see why. But yeah, just rewinding 10 years. For anyone that knows me personally for that long, I've always loved training. I have been one of those people that training is just their thing, right from like 14, 15 when I started, up until what would have been about 21, 22. Those years were just amazing. I did a lot of learning and education within that time, obviously as I developed as a PT, going on a lot of courses. Obviously had the amazing privilege of being asked to work with the muscle mentors, so Luke and Cal, and now we've transitioned into Pro Coach as well. So the journey so far from that standpoint has been amazing. But in just before lockdown, which I believe was 2019, so towards the back end of 2019, I just started not feeling myself, and I knew that there was something off, and I just ignored it for quite a while, and just thought I'll be fine, like it's something that will pass, and then it just didn't. I was just feeling really fatigued. I was not feeling myself mentally. I noticed that my training performance was going down, my recovery was going down, and a load of other little things that just weren't right, that I knew weren't right. I then decided to go to the doctors, and we ran some blood tests, and it came back that my prolactin was, I believe at the first blood test, it was around 1,800. Which anyone that's done any blood tests knows that your prolactin should be within a maximum of kind of 300 on that normal range. So it was obviously a lot above that. So that led to me going and having a MRI done on my kind of entire body, but they were specifically looking at the brain. And we found something known as a prolactinoma. So a prolactinoma is basically a benign tumor on your pituitary gland, and it secretes the hormone prolactin. And with a very elevated level of prolactin like that, that can obviously cause all of those side effects that I was feeling. So that obviously was a bit of a shock and it's kind of hard news to hear initially, saying, the doctor said, listen, you've got a tumour in your brain, in your pituitary gland. As soon as you hear that, you're like, shit, what's wrong with me? But it's almost nothing to worry about because we did catch it fairly early. I believe it was 10 millimeters. I was starting to get, one of the symptoms was just really frequent headaches, especially like kind of behind my eyes. Anyone that knows like where the pituitary is located, it's almost on the kind of underside of the brain, on the anterior side. I was also getting dizzy quite a lot, and I'm lucky that kind of I caught it early, because it can start progressing and actually start pressing on your optic nerve that obviously links to your eyes as well and affect your vision. So yeah, we caught it at a good time, at a time where obviously I'd already been through like a bit of a tough period, but a time where we kind of knew that it was something that we could manage and kind of get rid of moving forward. So then we started going into the treatment of that, and the treatment for a prolactinoma is we use a drug known as a dopamine 2 receptor agonist. And essentially, in terms of prolactin, that has an inverse relationship with dopamine, which I believe is why I was experiencing those kind of mental issues mental side effects in terms of just feeling a little bit low and depressed and just not myself. So what these drugs do is essentially bind to the dopamine receptors within your brain, and as a result that is then going to help lower prolactin. And I was told, in terms of how to actually get rid of the growth and kind of get through it, if we were to do that, then it would eventually shrink, and I'd eventually then be able to go on to kind of a management treatment and just make sure that it stays where it is. So the drugs themselves, I started them the beginning of 2020, because then we went into lockdown March 2020, didn't we? So I had just started the treatment, and I originally started on something known as cabergoline or Caber, which is something that the bodybuilding industry may be aware of. It's used as a bit of an ancillary there, but that caused some really bad kind of side effects in itself. I went through months of really bad depression, and I also experienced like extreme kind of fatigue. I would fall asleep just at random points in the day without even realizing. I'd be sitting at my desk trying to do work, and then all of a sudden I'd wake up 2 hours later. And it was something known as sudden onset sleep syndrome, I think they said. So we started experimenting with different doses, and that didn't work. So I started on a different drug completely, and eventually, like towards the time we were reaching kind of 2021, as we started to kind of come out of lockdown, like that March, April time, I was starting to feel a little bit more like myself, which was amazing considering like the period of time that I went through that was awful from that standpoint, but also we were in lockdown, and there was a load of other kind of stuff going on there as well. So I was really pleased when gyms opened back up, much like the rest of you, but more so because I could actually start getting back to being the person I am in terms of doing that thing that I enjoy most and starting getting back into training. And it took a while. It took a long time to get back to the point where I was almost running on full steam. And I think, yeah, the last probably 3 to 4 months have been the best like training months and the best I've felt in a very, very long time. And I'm just so happy to kind of be back in this position now where I can be like progressing and doing what I love, and it helps kind of from all aspects, as you know. So I set this photo shoot up to almost like celebrate that fact and give myself a challenge to like go through, and something that I knew that I would absolutely love and enjoy, and just something to almost be celebrated because I can do this now. It would have never been an option, and it's something that I've always wanted to do in the back of my mind. I have kind of set the idea that I'm going to do a photo shoot for quite a while, but obviously then these things started to kind of roll in. So yeah, we are doing a photo shoot on the 28th of June. So I believe we're 8 weeks out maybe. So yeah, I'm buzzing. It's going awesomely as well. Everything is progressing at a really good rate. I've got a holiday next week, which is a bit of a diet break there, and then we've got 6 weeks when we come back. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of give you guys a little bit more of an insight into why I chose to do that in the first place. And then I think aside from all of that, and almost speaking through maybe why other people might do a photo shoot and why it might be a good idea and a good option for you, is just the fact that there is a tremendous amount of benefit to come from putting yourself through a self-imposed challenge. And I think the amount of growth that you can see when you put yourself in an uncomfortable environment and in a environment and situation where maybe there is a little bit of pressure on you, and maybe you're doing stuff that you've never done before, and you're taking your body and your mind to a place that it's never been before as well. I think for me personally, that's probably one of the biggest things I'm going to get out of this, aside from the physical progress, aside from the pictures, aside from everything else. Just that self-development and that personal growth and that ability to then apply that to my career as well. As you know, I'm an online coach and my personal trainer, and being able to build the empathy and the understanding that comes only with experience of going through something a little bit more extreme and getting to that level of leanness that maybe isn't kind of normal, but you just have to push yourself to. That's only going to have a beneficial impact there as well. So yeah, I am buzzing to say the least. And yeah, I hope that video was kind of insightful, valuable, useful. And any questions that you guys have at all, please don't be afraid to ask. I'm always open to kind of speak about stuff. So yeah, hope you enjoyed. And as always, do all that YouTuber stuff. Like, comment, subscribe. and I'll see you in the next one.